Long before I was born, my species, the Malonics, engaged in a space race to bring much-needed supplies back to our homeworld of Malonius, as well as prove which nation among the great powers was the strongest. During that time, our messages looking for life outside of our solar system attracted a visiting species known as humanity. After we took in their ambassador, Noglitha, they invaded us and oppressed us for 4 generations of turmoil. Now, over a century later, I, Mathazur Bresak, have taken part in the Malonic Liberation Army to drive out humanity and to overthrow the puppet government of Malonius. After reflecting on the qualities of an animal known as a fox that is similar to Malonics in appearance and is native to humanity's homeworld of Earth, we employed the tactics and attitude of the fox in order to overthrow our oppressors. That was until we lost an important bastion in a wave of traps set up by humans when they realized their conventional tactics were failing. Now, we have returned to our hideout around the gas giant Tessiab in order to plot our next steps. I stretched in my capsule bed as the bombs shook the ground. Luckily, our bunker was located 87 rat under the surface of the small moon we had claimed, far enough underground to resist the impacts. 2 of my comrades rolled out of their capsules. "They're shelling us," I told them. Zvonarek Lursak responded to me. "Looks like duty calls," he said. I saw the other soldiers under my command, Tieksi Zundin, Therios Lepsaxian, and Chula Krebinoth, stand up and stretch. After we dressed ourselves in our uniforms, I began the generalized morning exercise routine before I sent everyone to different gymnasiums to target their specialized skills. After engaging with a hand-to-hand combat training robot for an hour, I joined my men in the canteen. As we drank our vitamin-dense juice and devoured our variously portioned servings of breaded hedra meat, berries and prebiotic cream, and mushroom caps, the courier for our Legion commander arrived at our table. "Squad Commander Bresak," he requested. "Legion Chief Mrak wants to see you." I nodded as I drank the last bit of my juice. I gestured with my hand to my men, and we ascended the steps to the Mission Control Center. The dark light of the multi-storied room, illuminated by the teal light of the CRT displays, conveyed its importance. At a table sat Legion Chief Toriaz Mrak, the commander of the 500 soldiers at this base. A direct descendant of Ambassador Tevr Mrak, who had been on the team to intercept the human probe bearing our deceiver, Toriaz had accessed a document containing the skills gained from his progenitor's service and intelligence and employed them to deceive Nikor Hyo, the puppet leader of our original homeworld of Malonius, into providing his company, Malonic, refueling the 3 moons of the gas giant Tessiab so that the Empire of Sol would have enough hydrogen for nuclear fusion and spacecraft fuel. However, Nikor was unaware of Toriaz's plan to train up a resistance army, so, when Toriaz had begged for numerous expansions to the residential and refueling stations so each moon could sustain 2 million each, numerous 3-dimensional printers, and 15 industrial soldering machines, Hyo agreed. While Tessiab is far from our home, Toriaz had made a clever decision. The moon Kiryata is rich in iron, titanium, silicon, nitrogenous stones, and magnetic rocks, which we use for the manufacture of starships, fertilizer, and railguns. The moon Desaad had an ocean underneath its surface, and numerous pocket ecosystems in caverns and grottos, which enabled it to become a giant in food production for both Malonius and the Malonic Liberation Army. Finally, the moon Lyrii, where I stand, has numerous veins of uranium, which we use for nuclear weapons and armor-piercing bullets. Meanwhile, Tessiab has supplied our resistance with large reserves of hydrogen, which we use in our fusion reactors for power, starships for propellant, and food manufacturing for synthetic compounds. Additionally, because it is explosive, we've also been known to use it as a way to sabotage our human oppressors. "Squad Commander Bresak," Toriaz began, "I need you to perform our biggest, riskiest mission yet." "Go on," I replied cynically. The last time he had said that, we had been ambushed by being presented Kesark Bastion. When our ships rescued us from the surface, the humans obliterated half our fleet and drove all Malonic Liberation Army soldiers off Malonius and back to Tessiab. where we now are being shelled into submission. We've been able to travel to 2 other systems using our knowledge of bidirectional wormholes to colonize 2 planets, Torias continued. I think it is time we evacuate to our colonies. We can use the resources there to rebuild our movement. The Asykampa system is a good place. Raise families, build our strength up, and teach the goals of our rebellion to your children. One day I know we will liberate Malonius from the humans. What about you? I asked him, concerned. As the Xoine saying goes, every good warlord fights with his army. When you all leave, me and the commanders on Kiriata and Desaad will initiate the self-destruct sequences, so they can't obtain our mathematical formulae used for bidirectional wormholes and our special stargates that employ this technology. The room shook vehemently, causing cables to burst out of the walls and dust to fall from the roof. They're getting closer. Take the subterranean wormhole to Excelsior Citadel on Asykampa Primus. The room quaked again. Go, now! Me and my men rushed for the emergency staircase and took it to the armory, where we gathered our maser guns. Afterwards, we descended the staircase again to the very bottom of the base, 1 hectorat under the surface. Afterwards, we charged down a hallway to the personal stargate. Unlike the portals used to transport large ships between star systems, the personal stargate was intended for people to pass through, and boy, were there many people who wanted to pass through today. As soon as the crowd cleared out, Therios went first, followed by Chula and Tixin. I insisted that Zvonarek go before me, but he refused. Reluctantly, I passed through the portal. After I passed through the chrome-colored sphere that reflected the hallway, I stepped out into a large room with a vaulted ceiling. Zvonarek followed me. Then the portal closed. The chrome sphere that reflected the room we had teleported into rapidly shrunk until it was too small for us to see with our naked eyes. Were there any others? I asked. Fordi, Zvonarek exhaled, his bulky shoulders sinking. Several weird creatures with claws and drills in their snouts came at us. One of the soldiers pushed me through before he initiated the portal's self-destruct sequence. The humans had utilized one of their artificially created organisms to burrow into our base. Now, 40 soldiers were dead from the attack. I stepped out of the large chamber and descended a flight of stairs. That was when I beheld the site of Excelsior Citadel. My great-grandparents had told me what the Makedran capital city of Osirax was like before humanity invaded. Tall high-rises of stone with elaborate carvings, numerous wide avenues to accommodate vehicles and pedestrians, and several waterways that fractured the urban feel of the city. From my perch on the skyway between the building we had teleported into and another high-rise, I got the impression Excelsior Citadel was designed to mimic this description, from the many broad streets and aqueducts between buildings and crossing under streets. While most of the buildings were made of glass and metal due to the prevalence of silicate materials on Asykampa Primus and the large reserves of iron in the crust, there were a few buildings of stonework, mainly those belonging to the government. For being a terraformed planet, Asykampa Primus had several forests of large ferns, conifers, and a species of human trees known as live oaks spreading throughout the valley that had once been a peaked ring crater. Through the thin atmosphere, I saw a few faint stars, even in the daylight. After entering another building, I was greeted by 2 Malonic women. "Hello," they greeted. "Welcome to Excelsior Citadel Housing Office. We will assign you an apartment for you to live in, a vehicle for you to drive, and a duty station." I nodded. One of the women withdrew a tablet from her dress's lapel pocket and began to read off of it. "Mathazur Bresak," she read. "You're assigned to the Kasek Residencies, Floor 11, Apartment 6. You are to receive a convertible sedan for your car. Tomorrow you will report to your duty station. Until then, enjoy yourself, and that's in order." I nodded. The other woman showed me to an elevator and took it down with me to the ground floor. I was then given my car, and I took it to the designated apartment block. After parking in the garage and taking the elevator up to my floor, I meandered down the hall to my room. I input the access code into the keypad, unlocking the door. The room was already furnished with wooden furniture and seating arrangements upholstered in hedgehog fur. To my left was a large bed and wardrobe. I had a small kitchenette with many cabinets, an electric stove mat, and a miraculous invention created before the human invasion of Malonius, a microwave oven. Between the kitchen and the bedroom was the common area, equipped with an overstuffed sectional and wooden coffee table. Across from it was a balcony that overlooked the city's downtown area. Next to my bed was a bathroom with a bath basin, a latrine, and a washing basin. I was grateful for the apartment, as it suited my needs. I went to the wardrobe, noticing an assortment of civilian clothes, as well as uniforms folded neatly on the shelves. I then opened one of the cabinets in the kitchenette, prospecting for further bounties. There was a vast assortment of vegetables, fungi, fruits, meats, and animal products on designated shelves. Indulgently, I took a large pan off of a rack and cooked a large cut of salted hedgehog meat. Afterwards, I took several tubers and mushrooms out of their containers and placed them in a pan. As my meal cooked, I took a bath and dressed myself in the soft-fitted clothing from the wardrobe. I then turned the television on as I ate. It was almost like life before the space race and the human invaders, or at least that's what I've watched in scraps of film recording. As the sun set, I collapsed onto my bed, exhausted. I was thankful for the pamphlet I had written before my deployment to Malonius, as I felt that it influenced the creation of this city. Within the short span of a few months, we used our laser technology to carve stone from the surrounding mountains, and our supply of genetically engineered animals created by the humans to create this large city as a last bastion. Like the foxes on Earth, we had victory over the humans again. The next morning, I changed into my uniform and drove downtown to the base. Seeing the other cars on the road and civilians smiling at me as I drive by brings hope back to me. Although Lyrii, and quite possibly all of the moons of Tessiab, have fallen, we had one last bastion we were rebuilding civilization on, many parsecs away from the Empire of Sol. I parked in the nearby garage and walked up the flight of stairs into the complex of pyramids and high-rises that was the base. When I clocked in, I was told Base Chief Rekior Mashak wanted to see me. I took the elevator down to the section of the base that was the control room for the defense satellite array in the system. He and another in a leather suit turned from a CRT display depicting a starship to face me. Mathazur Bresak, he greeted. Welcome to Excelsior Citadel military base. I am in charge of the extraterrestrial defense division of the Malonic Liberation Army. We have just made contact with another civilization. It doesn't match the patterns of any other civilization under the control of the Empire of Sol. Because of this, I'm extending to you the choice of going to investigate the ship with a group of teammates to learn the purpose of these aliens in our system. Yes, Chief, I said. Inside, I was nervous because of the last time my civilization had made contact with another species. Yet, this was the mission I had been training for, and I had to fulfill my duty. As I stepped onto the bridge of the starship Rare Day, the many CRT displays cast greenish-blue lights around the computer operators. In the center of the bridge sat Ricard Chesk, the captain of the Rare Day. Through the window I saw the alien ship, a cylindrical craft with several rings around it. We were to dock with it in a few hours. As I made my way to the airlock with my other teammates, I hoped that whomever was piloting that ship would aid our cause, or at least avoid aiding the Empire of Sol or any other potential threats. Once I felt us dock, we stepped into the airlock. In the junction between our two ships was a procession of creatures unlike any I've seen before. Each one had 2 antennae, a brace of green eyes, and green scales, and each wore purple robes. Hello, I greeted. Welcome aboard the... One of them pointed at a CRT display in the airlock and made a long string of vowels, clicks, and nasal sounds. I guess he was trying to communicate with me. Excuse me, I continued, but... No, it said, pointing at the CRT display more urgently. I thought about it. My mental training for communication with other beings when I was a civilian in Osirax had prepared me for a moment like this. It occurred to me that the alien wanted a computer. Juzuhar, I said to my teammate. Bring me a portable computer with the Makedran language, our history, some biological facts, and the rebel manifesto saved on it. Yes, sir. He left, leaving me to stare down the newcomers. After returning with the computer, a rectangular box with a flatter than usual CRT display and a fold-down keyboard, I handed it to one of the aliens. The lead one took it and bowed. No, it said. The aliens then disappeared into their ship. So, now what? Chuzuhar asked me. We wait for them to return. Several hours passed, then the procession returned. The lead one carried a silver tube. After he grabbed both sides of it, he pulled them apart, causing a fabric-like material between them to hang out. On it, in perfect Makedran, was a greeting. Hello, Malonic Liberation Army. We are the Waekmong, a species of ambassadors from the Waekmong Federation. We seek to learn more about you. Please come aboard. You wait here, I told my teammates as I joined the Waekmong procession to go aboard their vessel. But Squad Leader Bresak, Chuzuhar began. Nuh-uh. You stay here with the ship and tell the captain my duties. I'm going aboard to try to gain a new ally. Chuzuhar nodded. While I knew my mission was risky, I knew it had to be done. The Malonics counted on it, and if I secured an alliance between our two peoples, I knew we could tip the scales in our favor.